Just take the heat.
Arrête ça.
Just take the heat.
Arrête
Me, I
ça.
have an extinguisher. Finish it. Hey guys, welcome back to Uncut, where we get together, get comfortable, and get real. So today we want to talk about taking people at face value. And when I say that, it's when people, we often hear the saying, when people show you who they are, believe them. So like, what are your thoughts on that, or what are your personal experiences with that?
Okay, I'll go first. Sometimes I feel like when you really want something to happen, when you want to, you want to believe in the goodness of somebody.
Like a relationship?
So it can go both ways. Like, it could be for a friend, or it could be for someone that's not so much of a friend. But when you want to see something, whether it be like you believe in the goodness of a person, or you want this person to like you or whatever, you have so much hope that you stop seeing what they're actually showing you. So they might be showing you, for example, in the relationship example, they might be showing you that like they just like you for who you are and they're really genuine, and you're out here like fantasizing like, oh yes, he's about to be my husband and everything, not really taking in that maybe he just likes your company, you know what I mean? And even with friends, sometimes you want to believe the goodness in them. For example, you want to believe that you can trust them when they say something, they're going to keep to their word, but you know that this person has patterns of lying, and you're going to like dismiss the whole pattern of lying, for example, and you're gonna choose to be like, oh, well, maybe they're just telling the truth, or maybe they're gonna do what they actually say that they're gonna, what they actually said they were gonna do, you know. So I always find myself always looking at the positive side, or looking at my own interest before I actually just take in what the person is just showing me. That's something that
Let me just dive in here, because for me, this has been like a constant lesson, and it's like a lesson that's like slapped me in the face over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Because I'm the type of person that I will do, especially like once, like when I care for you, I will do whatever it takes. Like if you need somewhere, you need a ride, you need money, you need prayer, you need me to be there for you at 4 a.m., whatever. I will drop whatever I need to drop and be there for you. But I've been constantly
Burned.
I won't say a victim. Burned's a good one.
Or blindsided.
Blindsided is a very good one too.
a mix
With people that have constantly just taken advantage of my goodness. Many examples are when I'm constantly there for people, you know, if it's, I don't know, babysitting for you, or you need something and it's only me that can, like, you put all this pressure that only I can do it, and I go ahead, or coming back from work and being there for you. And when I do it, and I often say this and I post this a lot, when you do good for your heart, from your heart, and do good because it's good. Don't do good to expect something in return. Back in return.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is something I live by and I do, but it sucks when
it's not reciprocated.
It's not reciprocated. Like, yes, you don't do good,
So
you want to receive. You don't do good because you want to receive something back, but
you
in your
hope
time
that,
of need, you expect.
Reciprocation is still a thing.
You hope that the people that you've been there for, that are supposedly your friends and your family or whatever, would show the same interest back to you, right? And it's like for me, like, this is like a personal, and it's real life. Like, I've had people that I've been there for. Like, it gets me, I don't want to say it gets me angry, but it still gets very
strongly emotional.
Strongly emotional.
Yeah. Because there are people in my life that I've been there for, and I still am. But in my time of, let's say, you know, I just had a daughter, you know, and obviously, you know, you're a new mom, or, you know, you just given birth and stuff like that, you might need help, or even just a visit or just a call or whatever. They've never called. They haven't dropped by, or they've dropped by once. Like, it's almost like when they do something for you, it's like a check mark off of a list. It's just like, oh, okay, yeah, I called her. Oh, hey, you're good. You're like,
not genuinely,
there's no
because they
thought,
want to
there's
do
no
it.
thought into it. But these are people that I've, you know, this could be someone that I've been there for in their toughest times, you know, morning, day, or night, I've been there for. But why is it that when it comes back to me, that's not reciprocated?
Yeah. I'm just going to piggyback what you're talking about, because what you're saying is really real, and I'm just going to talk about you just for that matter. A lot of the times I find myself telling you, like, Lisa, these are not your friends. Like,
A lot of
these are
times.
not your friends. And
Absolutely.
Lisa has an issue where, like, even when you're telling her, she wants to believe that because she has the goodness in her heart for you, that you have that same goodness
it's
for her.
almost
That
like
they'll
you don't-
recognize
And
that.
you can
almost like you
hear
don't
it.
wanna- you
Like
don't
when you're
wanna-
speaking, like you're like you can hear your
I know, I'm like
breath
high, so
heavy
like
and-
totally
her
like
passion.
high-
Yeah, but you know
It's-
what? When you said that, it reminds me of like what my mom always says when, because I feel like my mom is really much like she's like you in a way where she's like very someone that's very selfless, right? And she does so much for other people, and then but you can't help but get hurt when it comes to when you're in the need, you feel like it's not reciprocated in the same way or the same gratitude, right? And I think one thing she always says to me was like she's learned to get in a place where like elle fait ça, elle se dit que okay, she tells herself that she does it for God, right? And then at the end of the day, as long as He sees her heart, then she's okay with it at the end of the day. But it doesn't
I
change
get-
the
no,
fact
no,
that
yeah.
it still
I-
hurts.
But in
And I
that
get that,
sense
I
too,
do.
it's like that makes sense, and that's really like it's really great that
Yeah.
she thinks
it's
that
something
way.
that it gives you strength,
Yeah.
but it doesn't. Like it's that's the beauty of faith, that no matter what emotions of that you may go through,
Yeah.
is that you have your faith to fall back on, and you
Yeah.
because
As
you
the
know that
motive.
truth.
Because you don't want to change
Yeah.
because you
To
don't
ground
also
your motive.
you also don't want to become somebody else because of it. Because I can see how it can get to a point where ça fait tellement mal, or it hurts so much that like now you just feel like you don't want to be that type of person anymore, and then you become somebody else based on the fact that like you've been wronged or it's been too painful. But you always don't want to let other people's actions change
who
who
you
you
are.
are.
What were you
Because
gonna
that
say?
you know what I mean, because regardless of who didn't appreciate that,
Yeah.
I'm sure there are other people who will, right? And that it could, and then people who will reciprocate that back to you, right?
I was gonna say, like, so where do you draw that line? Because like you were saying, you do so much for people, right? But at that moment, you're not expecting anything in return, or you don't need anything that they can really give to you. But when you do need, then you realize they're not there for me, right? But so where do you draw the line of like doing it for God and doing it out of the goodness of your heart, but still not overdoing it to where you're giving so much of yourself and then realizing that you're not getting anything
well,
in
you're
return?
not charging. What's that line? Sorry, what's that thing where it says that like
Running
you're-
on an empty tank?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, synchronization. That's great.
When you do something out of the goodness of your heart, and you have that faith and stuff like that, you're like, even for me, it hurts, and I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna get upset, but it hurts. And you're constantly there for people. You're doing it for like, yes, you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart.
Can I help you out with the drawing of the line? Because her question was, where do you draw the line? Like, how do you draw the line between, okay, I'm gonna give
When do
it.
you say no?
You know what I'm saying? Like, not even just when do you like. When does it? How can you
Yes,
balance
when
both?
do you say no? Because
But when
sometimes
do you say no?
too
The
much
question
is too
would be
much.
how because you'd have to see what that person is presenting to you. Because
Exactly.
for me, like,
Which
my
is take them
downfall,
at face value.
that's the thing. My downfall has been that I'm doing all these things for these people out of the goodness of my own heart. You know, God sees me. I'm not doing it so you can see me. Yo, Lisa's such a good person. Like, you know, you can call her at 4 a.m. and she'll show up or whatever. Even if she has to take a bus, she'll show up. You know, like,
Okay.
I'm just saying.
But you would.
But I would.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I would. But if I'm constantly like, I have to you have to take a pause and just be like, it has to be give and take. Like,
Yeah.
I'm there for these people or whatever. That's great. Or I'm there for you. But what is it that you're bringing into my life? What value? What I was gonna say conseil in French, which is advice. Like, what advice or what values, what uplifting are you bringing into my life, into my day to day, that
Can
I
I
feel
just
like
say?
I can't live without, the same way
Exactly.
you can't live without me being there for
Yeah.
you.
In terms of that, it's really important to pay attention to those things during your friendship. So it's not, friendship is not only about what can you do for me, like picking me up at 4 a.m. or whatever. It's also about what do you
What do you
pour into
add?
me? What do you add to my life on a regular basis that I feel like I value you for that? Example with someone who drives, someone who doesn't. You can't help me with a car because you don't have one. Doesn't mean that I'm a better friend than you because I have a car. You know what I mean?
I mean, she's not
But-
personally talking
That's
to
why I
you.
was like,
But
you must be.
I mean.
I'm joking.
I mean, but no, but I see that because we're always, I would drive Mika around a lot when we go somewhere. I pick her up, and I love picking her up because I love being with her. But when I'm with her, the things that she adds into my life, what we talk about,
It makes
the
it
value she
worthwhile.
puts into me,
Yeah.
and on other things too on a regular basis. It's not because of the car, but you know what I mean. So it's like when you're doing all these things for friends, because you have the means to do so. At that same time, what are they pouring into you in a different way that you also value?
Another thing
Maybe
to
not
look-
in the same exact way or the
yeah.
same exact thing, but what else are you doing that's adding on to my
the
life?
thing that you mentioned just about cars, the fact that like you drive her around and stuff like that. Just another thing to look out for also when about the whole face value is like someone's mindfulness, because you're like
Absolutely.
you'll drive her around, or sometimes you'll come pick me up and stuff like that. The mindful thing to do, yes, for friends and stuff like that, would be, I don't have to pay you for gas all the time, but whenever I can drop a 20 or 30 or whatever,
And I appreciate that.
I don't need to
and
wait
that
for you
shows
to ask.
your mindfulness. That shows what you add to me. That shows
Right.
that you value what I do for you, and you appreciate it, and you try to help out when you can for me, because you know that it still costs money for gas and stuff. So that's reciprocation. It's not I drive you drive me. No.
I wanted to add something.
Does that make sense?
That's
wanted to
another
add
form of
something.
reciprocation. That's a good
I
one.
wanted
Yes.
to add something when it came to just setting boundaries, right? So one thing that I liked that you said was doing things, doing it for God. So doing it for God is one thing. So let that be your motive forever. Let that ground your motive, whether the person is reciprocating or not, right? That should be the motive for all things. But also have your boundaries to know that these are not my friends. So you have to know the two things. These are not my friends, therefore it's not that you don't feel like you owe them. If you're going to do something, it has to be from the goodness of your heart, and it cannot be a burden. So if you're doing it with the goodness of your heart, that should automatically mean that because there's a boundary, and because you know that they're not friends, because usually the goodness that comes back usually is a consequence, especially between friends. Like, it's not like you expect it. You know it's coming back to you. I know that if I treat you well, you're going to treat me well. It's a consequence of goodness, right? Especially between friends. But because you know that they're not friends, you automatically don't owe me that. You know what I'm saying? You automatically,
You know what? I'm hearing it and I know it. I'm just admitting that it sucks.
Yeah.
Just like, just in your flesh as a person, it sucks. Because it's like, you can't imagine someone just being that unthoughtful. Like, for me personally, it does not make any sense. How is it?
Common sense is not so common.
And it's like, it's not like you sit, like, for me, that's like going through this and kind of still dealing with it. It's not like I sit around and be like, okay, I don't start thinking about all the things I've done for you until it's hit me that I'm alone and I'm in a time of need, or I can't believe, maybe such a big thing has happened to me, or I can't believe we haven't spoken in X amount of months.
Can I ask you something though?
Yeah.
Like, what would you say to somebody who is like you? Somebody who feels that they're so giving, they're so selfless, but always find themselves coming short when it comes to...
You need to know the difference between being...
Well, look at them, girl. Look at them, girl.
You need to know the difference between being selfless and doing something out of the kindness of your own heart, and
Proving yourself?
no, I know the term in French, servitude. I don't know how to
being
say
a slave of...
being a slave to that goodness.
To the need to help and the need to be...
So yes, you're doing
others.
something out of the goodness of your heart, and yes, you love that person, you're constantly being there for them, but it's okay to say no, and that's personally where I'm at.
And I've had to learn that lesson too, and I get that, because it's hard to say no sometimes.
And saying no doesn't mean that you're not doing something. Like doing something doing a good out of the doing
something good.
Yes.
The goodness of your heart.
Thank you.
Pas de problème.
What she said, it's also for yourself. Like I am doing good
for
me by having to
no.
tell you no, because I'm wearing myself out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you harvest what you plant. So ultimately, even though these people, these friends haven't reciprocated back that goodness, that love, you've planted those seeds that God's gonna make sure that you harvest back in your life, whether it's with your beautiful family, your sisterhood, your finances, LM hair. You know what I mean? You're gonna see you're
No.
gonna see all that goodness back into your life. So
It's-
you know
no,
it didn't
it's-
go to
It's true.
to waste.
It's true. Because the Bible says what you reap bountifully, you'll receive back bountifully.
When you sow.
When you
So
sow.
Why are you
you get
reaping?
reap.
reap
Why are you
bountifully.
reaping? What are you reaping if
The
you haven't
French
sown?
in me just has not been working
Right.
well with
It's
what
okay.
I'm trying to say.
But most importantly, don't miss the mark. So when
Yeah.
someone is showing you something, honestly, don't miss the mark. When they're showing you who they are, don't miss the mark.
Believe
Take what
them.
you see in a relationship, in a friendship with family. What you see is what you actually get until you see otherwise. Fruits speak louder than just
Words.
right. We want to see the fruits. I was waiting for somebody to rescue me. Somebody rescue me.
2020, we rescuing people in 2020.
But yeah, don't miss the
Yeah.
mark, guys. Don't miss the mark.
Yeah, well, I hope this one was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions or anything you guys want to share with us as well, let us know. Always remember this message because it's very important for everybody.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next time.